You have a presentation?
I do. No, I'm just going to speak. Buenos días, mis amigos y amigas. Amo Panama. It's an honor to be here with you. And I want to first begin by thanking you, Congressman Pittenger, for what you've built with this organization and the impact you're having around the world, talking about important policy issues. I also want to thank the Parlamentino and all of the parliamentarians that are here, as well as the security personnel from here in Panama and around the region in the Caribbean and Latin America. And the purpose of my discussion today, basically what I want to talk about, is I want us to imagine a cleaner, healthier, safer Latin America and Caribbean with prosperity and opportunity for all, and some of the challenges that we're all facing in that goal. And we've seen world affairs have dramatically shifted over the course of the last decade. The rise in the power and reach of the Chinese Communist Party threatens the progress and prosperity of the entire free world. Free and democratic nations across the world have felt the pressure both economically and in some cases militarily of the Chinese Communist Party as they lead an asymmetrical war to upend and overthrow democracy as we know it. And this is in spite of the fact that your country's largest trading partner is probably China. In fact, one of the top 3 trading partners for most of Latin America and the Caribbean is China. And the Chinese Communist Party has made it exceedingly clear that they seek to control our systems of government, economy, and beliefs. And this is true in both the developed and the developing world. We've seen the Chinese Communist Party and its state-owned enterprises weaponize their vast supply of rare earth minerals and refineries or processing as a weapon to undermine economic security and sovereignty around the world. We know that the Chinese Communist Party is willing to do whatever it takes to grow its stranglehold across the entire world. And by this I mean control of trade, transportation, and international organizations like the World Health Organization and the UN, just to name a few. And the CCP's treatment of their own people is a perfect example. While China engages in the cold and vicious genocide and cultural extinction of the Uyghurs, the Tibetans, and the Southern Mongolians in modern-day concentration camps, the world has turned a blind eye to these atrocities. So the CCP wants to dominate and subjugate the world, and they have a credible plan. It's their so-called Long March, which culminates in 2049, or you might say their Belt and Road Initiative, or Made in China 2025. And just ask the people of Tibet how that's working out for them. Xi Jinping of China has aligned with leaders like the Ayatollahs in Iran, Vladimir Putin in Russia, and Maduro in Venezuela. Not very good company. And these leaders are using their vast supply of energy production and transportation to pressure and disrupt global supply chains and transportation to pressure. They're also exporting terrorism, some of them. And it's all with the goal of destabilizing the global economy and governments. They're endangering the prosperity and freedom of billions of people around the world, including in Latin America and the Caribbean. Here in this region, some countries have aligned themselves with the CCP and the communist agenda. You probably already know that President Diaz-Canel of Canada was the first Latin American leader to be welcomed by Xi Jinping at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing. And in Venezuela, President Maduro referred to Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin as older brothers. My friends, the future of the world economically and environmentally will not only be decided in Brussels, Sao Paulo, and Washington, D.C., but also in Mumbai and Beijing and Moscow. And why is this the case? Because the West is currently choosing politics over prosperity. The woke environmental, social, and governance, or ESG policies that the West and the UN are promoting are fully reliant on the unsustainable green energy that mostly comes from China, like the rare earth minerals that power every single form of renewable energy and electric or battery-powered vehicles. So the green agenda activists are hurting the most vulnerable people in your countries and pushing all of us to use products made from slavery and abuse while demonizing essential fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are critical for human flourishing, and we refine them in the US and transport them and harvest them cleaner than anywhere else in the world. And as a bonus, there's an unlimited supply of hydrocarbons, and we will never run out of them. Over the centuries, the United States has come to your countries and built schools and hospitals and worked to lift up your people. But we neglected to answer the need for prosperity in your countries by prioritizing trade and investment. The United States still wants to be your trusted partner of choice. And unlike the CCP, our trade doesn't come with shackles of corruption and exploitation. We come with investment and jobs and cutting-edge technology and opportunities for your people, something that the Chinese Communist Party keeps all for themselves when they bring their business to your borders. And clearly China has met an unmet need in your countries. If the West chooses to abandon pursuing prosperity through innovation in energy and manufacturing, then the developing world will be left with no other option than to choose new economic partnerships that prioritize economic growth and expansion. China will soon own more Latin American and Caribbean debt than any other country. And just ask Sri Lanka how that works out when you can't service the debt. Because when Sri Lanka couldn't service their debt, they lost their Hambantota port in 1917 to China. I call that debt trap diplomacy. When I was the US ambassador to Denmark, Greenland, and the Faroe Islands, the Chinese ambassador threatened little Faroe Islands. If you don't use Huawei in your 5G equipment, you're not going to get a trade deal from China. And when a Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to a Chinese dissident, Norway was cut off from all trade and diplomatic relations by the Chinese Communist Party for 6 years. The United States and our country and our companies want to be your trusted trading partner of choice. I encourage you and your businesses to choose trading partners who share your values, who will not attempt to intimidate or bully your countries and your economies. It's my belief that in the not too distant future, the United States will focus on shared prosperity and pure trade without exporting ideas that you might not agree with and culture that does not align with your values. If there's one thing I hope you'll take away from our discussion today, it's the hope that our countries working side by side will pursue relationships that are fair and honest and mutually beneficial. The United States can and should export shared prosperity and not woke agendas. We must increase export of American energy and innovation, not climate alarmism. We all must bring jobs back to our own countries and expand our markets. My friends, I encourage you to seek strong, conducive alliances with like-minded countries to benefit your people and to build a brighter future for all of us. Thank you.